What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spin Fuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Council of Vapor Vengeance Tank. Alright guys, so before we get into the review, I do want to give a huge shout out to Council of Vapor for sending me this thing for the purpose of review. I really love it so far, and I just want to say that I will be reviewing all their latest products from here on out, so keep an eye out for those videos. Alright, so that being said, let's go on to some of the features of this device. It's made of 304 grade stainless steel. It has 4 adjustable air holes in the bottom section here. It has a shorty drip tip with non-adjustable air holes in the top, and they're blocked off right now by the little rubber gasket that I have on here now. We'll go over that more in the close-up section of this video. It has a honeycomb shield, which is to prevent splashback. It has a heat dissipation system inside the little drip tip well here. It features a durable Pyrex Glass tank, 0.2 ohm coils, which are rated from 30 to 100 watts, with 6 wick holes for faster wicking. Now the MSRP for this device is only $32, so in this market today, that is an absolute steal. Real quick, I just want to show you a little cloud production off of this tank here before we go into the close-up section. Alright, so let's go down into the close-up view, see what came inside the box, and then we'll go over some pros and cons. Alright guys, so as you can see here, we have our Vengeance tank back in its original box. Got it all cleaned up and ready to go for this up-close section. So first things first, we're just going to take a look around here. As you can see, the Council of Vapor and their website and Facebook page, the tamper evidence sticker, and stainless steel. Hopefully you guys can read that. Stainless steel with 0.2 ohm coils. Not that there's any other options. Maybe there will be in the future. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. Anyways, let's get right into it. Open that up. Focus. There we go. Take the tank out real quick. We'll go over that in just a second. Let's just take apart the box and see what else we got inside. Oh, with the lovely Council of Vapor kind of embossed logo with gold leaf on the back. That's pretty sweet. So there you go. As you can see, you get an extra coil and an extra glass piece, which is really cool. I'm glad they included that. And I did search around for anything else in this packaging, and I couldn't find anything. So that's what you get extra with the Vengeance tank. Let's go ahead and put this aside. Okay, if I can, yeah, there we go. All right. Try to put that back together as best as I can. Okay, all right. Alright guys, so as you can see, we have our Vengeance tank out. Let's go through every little feature from the top to the bottom, starting with the drip tip. Now this is not your average drip tip. First of all, it's wide bore. It's about the same size as the Kennedy Comp drip tip. For size comparison, let's just do that side by side. This is the Kennedy Comp drip tip. This is the Council of Vapor Vengeance tank drip tip. Similar form factor, except obviously the Vengeance tank has the O-rings on the bottom. Let's get rid of that. It has these holes along the edge here. Those are actually air holes, but the only way you can get those to actually function is if you take out the little rubber gasket, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I don't think it's that effective. It doesn't have any sort of adjustment, and it just kind of leaves this whole area wide open. So if you're ever getting this thing dirty in and out of your pocket or anything like that, that's going to definitely collect some junk, some crud. That being said, it has, I believe, it looks like double O-rings, but it's kind of like one big chunky O-ring. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer and show you that. And as you can see, the honeycomb splash guard there. And that's pretty much it as far as the drip tip is concerned. I prefer it with the actual little rubber O-ring on the top because it prevents my teeth from banging into the thing. The honeycomb splash guard helps slightly, but it's not, 100% of the time. I still get a little bit of splashback, and I do get a little bit of juice residue sitting on top of this thing from time to time. All right, so let's move on to the Heatsink. It's got a little heat conductor thing here in the bright red. As you can see, kind of sticks out from the rest of it. It's made out of, I'm assuming, Delrin, because Delrin doesn't conduct heat very well. So it kind of helps. The drip tip still gets warm, but not overly hot like some of the other tanks that I've used, like the Arctic. You can see the nice little engravings, subtle laser engravings on the side. And if you get it right, they do match up pretty well. You just got to screw in the tank so that it just matches up like that. And it doesn't leak if you don't tighten it 100%. I have tried it, trust me. And on the inside of the glass, you can see the lovely Vengeance logo. Nice laser engraving on the chimney there. I absolutely love that, especially with a nice clear liquid. You can see that really nice. Moving forward, we have our Pyrex Glass tank section, which I really wish they had put a little bevel on this edge. I think it would prevent, anything from scratching it or anything like that, getting it dinged up. I can definitely see this thing getting a little bit dinged up after, a while of using it. Just normal wear and tear could, chip away at that edge, which kind of worries me a little bit. But I do like the all stainless steel construction. So as you can see, I have a coil already installed, and that's the width of the coil there. And I believe that's about 3.5 to 4.5 millimeters in diameter. It's pretty huge, the bore on those things. And you can see the wicking kind of pressed against the wall there, which at the bottom of the coil has 6, count them, 6 juice holes or wicking holes, whatever you want to call them. And each coil is engraved 0.2 ohms. They kind of remind me of a hybrid almost between like an Arctic coil and an Atlantis coil. And let's show you the bottom side of where the atomizer sits in there. You can see the big chunky O-ring sitting in the bottom, which is really nice, prevents any leaks. I haven't had this thing leak on me once. And the air adjustment. So it just kind of free floats in there. It's not too easy to adjust, but I don't think many of you will be adjusting this all that often. I mean, look at the airflow. You can see all the way through there. Except when the coil fits in, you can't. You can still see somewhat through it though. And last but not least, the Council of Vapor logo on the bottom. As always, oh so elegant, oh so gorgeous. I can't get enough of that logo. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Alright, so let's put this thing back together real quick. And show you one final shot of it here. And that's the other thing about the drip tip is it's a little bit of a crud collector. That's why I don't like the metal drip tips too much. It just kind of gets that lip crud on there and looks kind of gross. Alright, so do one little final spin here. Let you see the bottom once again. Alright, so let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, so that was the close-up section of the video. Let's move on to some of my thoughts on this device with some pros and cons. My first pro is going to be the fact that this thing has airflow for days. The 4 air holes in the bottom here, I actually tend to close off those air holes just a little bit so I can get a little bit deeper of an inhale with this thing. When I have them wide open, I just tend to be feeling like I'm breathing, and I tend to like it a little bit more closed off. My second pro is going to be the wide bore tip. I really wish a lot more of tanks that are coming out nowadays would feature a wider bore. I do think that definitely helps when it comes to vapor production itself. Third pro is going to be the price. At 32 bucks, you really can't beat it, especially how gorgeous this thing looks. And honestly, I really feel like it looks too nice for the device that I have it on, which is the IPv3Li. I really wish I had a higher end box mod to put this thing on. And I say box mod because I really would rather have this thing on a box mod than a tube mod. The 510 pin does stick out just ever so slightly, but it still kind of worries me. I'd rather, not risk it and put it on a box that's regulated so I can control the power and everything like that. Moving on, the Pyrex Glass is a really good choice on the Council of Vapor. Glad they added the Pyrex to this thing. Some of their older tanks and older glass pieces weren't the sturdiest, and I feel like this thing is definitely a lot tougher than the older devices. And finally, the overall look and feel of this device is absolutely stunning. I mean, you can't deny the fact that this thing just looks pretty. So let's move on to some cons. My first con is going to be the fact that the coils themselves are rather limited. They only make the 0.2 ohm coil for this thing. I would really like to see a 0.5 ohm coil as well. It can still be dual coil, but I'd prefer to see something with a little bit higher of a resistance, so you don't need, a super high wattage box mod, so you can use it on something maybe with 75 watts or something like that. The splash guard is going to be my next con. I don't think it really is as effective as they think it is. I still get a little bit of splashback, and I still get a little bit of residual juice on the inside of my drip tip there. So a little bit annoying personally. I don't think it works 100%, but I like where they're going with it. Third is the juice capacity. This thing is an absolute juice hog. You'll go through probably 4 to 5 tanks in a day easily. I tend to fill this thing up at least, once every hour to an hour and a half. I believe the juice capacity is probably around 3 to 3.5 mils, but this thing sucks it down in no time. My fourth con is going to be the air adjustment itself. It looks nice, not having any ridges or anything like that. I like the overall look of it. However, I wish it would click into place or something to give you some sort of indication if you're going to be moving this thing around, because it can shift around on you a little bit, and before you know it, it's completely blocked off and you have no idea that it actually moved around on you, and you could get a severe dry hit that way. And finally, the drip tip itself. I really wish they added in the box an extra piece where you could put your own 510 drip tip on there if you wanted to. Not everyone's going to prefer the metal drip tip. As myself, I don't really like metal drip tips. That's the saving grace to that is the little rubber tip, which even that can kind of bug me sometimes. So I definitely prefer acrylic tips, and I wish they would have given us a little bit more options in that case. So whether or not I would purchase this device if I did not receive it for free for the purpose of review, and I'd probably say yes, but simply for the fact that this thing is an absolute cloud machine. I like my Arctic tank a lot, but I really think that this thing can blow bigger clouds for sure. I can attribute that to the coils. The coils are probably 3.5 or 4 millimeter in diameter, the inner diameter of the actual coil, which leads to a wider chimney, which leads to a wider, bore all the way through this tank. So this definitely has more clouds. This is for a cloud machine right here. Flavor-wise, it's okay. It's nothing special. I've been using the Rig Juice in here. This is Influx from Rig Reserve, and it's a pretty decent flavor overall. I've tried it in other tanks, and it stands up to the other tanks on the market nowadays. One thing I really wish they put in here is the top fill. Because it has a little seam at the top, I thought that it was going to be like a top fill system. However, I was sadly disappointed to see that it wasn't. I'm still standing true, and I say I would still purchase this thing just for the fact that it's basically like having, a dripper without going through any of the work. I only use it usually around 60, 65 watts. I don't ever put it up past that. Because it kind of gives me a little bit of dry hits here and there. So I tend to have to do a few pulls on it without hitting the button. But that being said, that's almost like, getting a dry hit from a dripper. So yeah, that about does it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. All the support is really awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video. For more of my content, check out spinfuel.com for more of my videos, as well as Smoke and Joey and Spin Fuel official videos. And as always, vape on.